Hi David, this is Alan Cockrell with ABC, former hitting coach with the Colorado Rockies and the Seattle Mariners. I want to thank you for coming to our camp. We're going to take a look at your video this morning and analyze a little bit of what's going on. I like your setup here. The first thing that we pay attention to is knees inside the feet, okay, and head is inside the knees, and that just to make sure that you're under balance. One thing I'd like to see a little bit more is just a little more athletic bend in your knees. And that's just going to get you down into the ground, down into your legs just a little bit more. And with your size, we should be able to use your legs as much as we possibly can. Every hitter wants to use his legs, but I'd like for you to use your legs as much as possible. It's going to help with balance. It's also going to help with power. Okay, we're going to run this forward now to the load up phase. Okay, the load up phase, you got a nice little toe tap. That's fine. That's a lot of hitters will use that. Sammy Sosa has used that. The thing that I like most about, even though you've used this toe tap, is your head has stayed pretty calm and pretty still. Okay. Now, once we get to the loaded position, there's going to be some things that we'll see here. The first thing that lands with most hitters in their load is the toe. But I want you to understand it's not until this heel fully plants into the ground am I fully loaded. So when the heel hits, now I'm loaded. Okay. Now we can we're in a position to see the ball and start our swing or start our move into the ball. A couple things here at the loaded position. Number one, I think because we started with some straight knees that we've gotten maybe just a little bit wider than we want to be. If we get too wide in our stride, here you've gone from here all the way back here to your toe touch, and now your foot has gone all the way out to here where it lands, and that's a pretty long stride. That's going to cause us to lose effectiveness in our hips. We want to try to keep our hips square to home plate, and the wider we stride, the more we lose the ability to drive our lower half into the ball. Okay. Couple other things that I look for here is again, we want to have good equal bend in both knees. We want to be athletic. Because we've gotten so wide, this back knee has started to straighten out just a little bit. Okay, so we would like to try to clean that up a little bit. Biggest thing that I see here, David, is your stride foot. Because your stride was so long, we've opened up this foot at 69 degrees. Okay. When that back or when that stride heel lands, we don't want this front foot to be any more open than 45 degrees. So this is the direction that your toe should be, right in this area right here at 45 degrees. If it gets open too much more than that, now all of a sudden we start to see these hips right here, no longer are they square, they start to leak open. Okay, that makes it difficult to handle any pitches on the outer half of the plate or outer third of the plate. Almost impossible to handle any breaking balls, curveball sliders that are moving away from us from a right-hander. So I'd really like to see you close up this stride foot a little bit more into this area right in here so that we can keep those hips squared up to home plate. Okay. Now we're going to move forward into the swing. There's two first moves. The first move in the swing is driving my lower half, which is a source of power. It's driving the back knee to the inside part of this front thigh. Okay, you get a good first move right here. First move with the hands is actually the elbow drops down into the slot. Okay, you can see here your elbow is dropped down into the slot. This particular point, we should have a connection between the shoulder, the elbow, and the hip. And you're in a pretty good position right there. All right, now from here, I want to see your hands start to work out front, in front of your body, past your center of contact, to contact the ball out here in front of you. Okay? What we see is the elbow continuing to go forward, and the elbow gets all the way out in front of your body before your hands clear right here and get in front of this elbow. Okay? So at this particular point right here, I'd like to see the elbow stops, everything stops, and the only thing going forward from that point with our hands is our hands. The hands move forward from that point so we can get to a strong contact point out here in front. Okay? We'll run forward to that point. Okay, the hands start to clear, they get in front. Okay, now we get to contact, and again, it's just going to be difficult for your hands to travel from this position all the way out to here before we start to get the barrel to contact. That's a long way for our hands to travel. So I'd like to see you all the way back into here. That shoulder, elbow, and hip are aligned. Now let's get the hands moving forward so they can get in front of that connection. Okay? I do see some good things at this particular point. I see palm up, palm down with the hands. That's a strong position to be in. Okay, I see the head and eyes should be looking right down the barrel of the bat at contact. And David, it's important for you to know, as soon as your head and eyes come up out of contact, the barrel of your bat is going to follow that as well. So it's important to get into the good habit of keeping the head and eyes in the hitting zone at contact, and even for one count past contact, just to make sure that I get good extension all the way through my swing. Okay, you can see here we start to get some extension. Okay, we've got a good backside turn right here. Shoelaces are facing the pitcher. All right, now as we go forward, okay, we start to recoil a little bit. We're going to come back down on this hip, or on this heel right here. We're going to come down, and because we're starting to recoil back in this direction, and this heel is going to go back down on the ground, we're starting to pull our bat across our body. Again, we want to get extension, so I want the extension of the bat barrel facing the pitcher just past contact, and then I want a nice, full, long finish with the arc of my bat doing something like this. All right, and as you can see, when we recoil, we go back down on the hip, and now we face our hands more in this type of swing arc. Okay, so you had it at this point right here. You had it going forward. Now let's just go ahead and let that backside release, and we're going to get those shoelaces facing the pitcher. All right, run this forward all the way to contact, or all the way to finish, and see. Okay, we recoil back, and you can see we just start to lose balance a little bit. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, David, is I want you to shorten up this stride. You've got this little toe tap. Okay, your foot start here. We toe tap back to here, and now we go all the way out to here. So basically, your stride is from right here all the way out to right here. I'd like to shorten that up and just cut that distance in half. All right, somewhere in this area. This is where you started. Okay, and if we go to this point right here, we would have a stride of about maybe 6 inches. So I'd like to see us shorten up that stride. Okay, that's going to keep more bend in our knees. That's going to keep us more athletic, and it's going to keep us more under balance. All right, the next thing I'd like to see you do is we're going to try to get this stride foot more at a 45-degree angle. All right, that's going to keep your hips in there. And the way that we're going to work on this is we're going to set a tee on the outer half or the outer third of the plate. We'll set it even with your stride foot. When your foot lands, your stride foot lands and that heel plants, we're going to set it even with that, and we're going to work on keeping our hips in there and staying squared up so that we can drive through this ball, hit line drives through the second baseman, line drives into right center field. Okay? The next thing we're going to work on is once we get to this connection right here, okay, now we're going to work on just letting the hands work in front of the body and releasing the bat and staying through this ball through the right side of the field. The last thing that we're going to work on is just making sure that we get this, when this backside starts to turn and those shoelaces are facing the pitcher, that we go ahead and get the release and let the backside finish through the baseball and get good extension. We don't want the recoil of falling back on that heel, losing balance, cutting off our swing a little bit. Okay, David, these are some drills I think that'll help you. I want to thank you